Frontier Friends. Slide on over here, Madison Cat. We're going to show you where wild's really at. Let's visit the ibex in their high mountain domain. Then head down to see the bison at home on the plain. Camels are cool, although they live where it's hot. But wild boars prefer a more foresty spot. Boy, these animals are all different, but maybe not as much as you think. Because in one way or another, they all live on the brink. A home high in the mountains is this marmot's dream. But the air's thin and the cold extreme. And for camels in the desert, that sun's hotter than it seems. Yep, these animals all live where it's hard to go, like deep into forests covered with snow. Let's meet some real frontier friends, prairie dogs and bison. Why do you think bison love the prairie dog's patch of open plain? Let's see. These mounds mark prairie dog houses, and the land around them is their domain. The prairie dogs eat here, trimming and weeding out the plants they don't like. It's a never-ending battle to beat back the wilderness. The bison come visiting because the grass here is short and sweet, just the way they like it. Here they come. Better duck! Meet the family. Way up here, having friends you can count on is the only way to survive. Teamwork is what it takes to keep track of marmot babies. They're born underground, but in a couple of weeks, they're already outside bouncing around. Mom stays close for a little while, but then bringing up baby becomes everybody's job. This high up, even trees won't grow. But this little goat isn't afraid of heights. He's an ibex. First, a little breakfast. Then, it's time to climb. Life on the plains may seem lazier, but it's tough too. To keep her babies safe, the mother bison puts them in a kind of kindergarten where all the mothers can keep an eye on them. There's no boss here, just one big happy herd. Who are the bison's best friends? The prairie dogs. Do you know how they got their name? They may not look like dogs, but they sure do sound like dogs. Prairie dogs are really a kind of squirrel. They live in huge families in underground burrows, so big we call them towns. Hide and seek. Can you see anybody hiding in this old wood pile? There! It's a wild boar and her babies snuffling around. Hey, who painted stripes on the little guy? While he's young, he has striped fur to help him blend in with the leaves and shadows. Baby boars come prepared for a rough life in the forest. They're born with their eyes open and their baby teeth all formed. Right now, Mom is showing them how to sniff out the best roots and mushrooms. They sure catch on fast. But there's somebody else on the lookout for dinner, too. A sharp-eyed hawk. He can see the babies when they're out in the open. But Mom hears him coming. Break for cover, everybody! From the air, those stripes help a baby boar just disappear. Would you need stripes to hide on this hillside? Let's ask the ibex. There they are. No stripes here. Their fur coats are the same dull color as the rock. They can climb all over and still be practically invisible. That's important because there's no place to hide on these bare rocks, not even for a little guy. How do you find your mom when she's almost invisible too? Just follow that little black tail, like a flag waving to you. Watch. Where did those Himalayan mountain sheep come from? When it comes to camouflage, they're the champs. You think you see them, but then you don't. Dinner time! Come rain, snow, or burning heat, one thing never changes. You gotta eat. For frontier animals, it can be hard to find food. All this snow makes this fellow look like a popsicle, but he's got other treats in mind. The only problem? What he wants is buried under lots of snow. Don't worry. With those powerful neck muscles, his head becomes an instant snow shovel. He'll dig 6 feet down to nibble on the tender grasses below. Oh, this snow is making me cold. Time to head where it's warm. Where could that be? The desert, of course. Home of the mighty camel. Now, the problem isn't chilly feet. It's how in the world to beat the heat. Camels aren't picky eaters. Thorns will do, or just about anything the camel can chew. Camels can turn their food into water and travel for 3 months without ever taking a drink. He's also got a built-in snack pack. The camel's hump is really stored up fat to keep him going between meals. Can you figure out what this snout's all about? It's wiggly and it's big. And it's perfectly made to help this pig dig. In the forest, the best food is hidden under dirt and leaves. A nosy nose is what the wild boar needs. He can use his snout like an ice pick, too. And when Mom's not looking, it's a straw for blowing bubbles. You see, table manners aren't what's important to these animals. The priority is finding food. Marmots have to eat lots and lots of grass, so when they find a good bite, they just grab it and gulp. No chewing with your mouth open, please? The older the marmot, the better he is at feeding himself. This little baby hasn't quite got a handle on dinner time yet. Animal talk.
Round 1.
Struggle is the name of the game out in the wilds. Sometimes the games can be pretty fierce. The ibex isn't afraid to blow his own horn. Most of the time, they're just showing off. But sometimes they have to go head to head. Heads up! A bighorn sheep is curling his lip. Get out of the way! Coming through! They go smashing into each other at 20 miles an hour. Isn't there an easier way to say what you mean? Well, this ibex sticks out his tongue to impress his neighbors. Except this neighbor thinks that that's just plain rude. Marmots use smell to identify their own special territory. But when there's danger about, they prick up their ears. One marmot always keeps a lookout. If he spots a dangerous eagle or fox, he sounds the alarm. Prairie dogs can whistle and bark too. Can you guess what they're saying? It means, look out. Because when it comes to getting hopping mad, the prairie dogs are the champs. They protect their burrows from rivals with high jumps and loopy leaps. When things settle down, it's time to kiss and make up. Learning the hard way. Mike the Marmot is the new senior sentry for his marmot colony. Lots of animals depend on him. Even the chamois will keep an ear out for his warning whistle. The sun is so nice and warm, he's tempted to take a nap or have a snack. All's clear. Or so he thinks. An eagle is on the hunt. Red alert! Hooray for Mike! He's warned all the animals. That eagle can just go home. Looks like this curious prairie dog could learn a lesson from Mike. Yep, little doggy. That's definitely a rattlesnake. Now what to do? Your burrow home is no use to you. That rattler can just follow on through. Sliding right after you. Yikes! Guess he's got the message, and now he's going to tell everyone else. On the move! Remember those camels who beat the heat? Take a closer look at their funny feet. 2 toes is the way to go when you're tromping through sand instead of snow. The prairie summer is easy on the bison's feet. Even the babies can keep up with no trouble as they trek for miles. They will travel next to their mothers for 4 years. But watch out when the winter winds blow. It's time to line up and put one foot in front of the other. Walking in another bison's footsteps makes it easier. Forget the hiking boots. Mountain goats have special hooves to help them scale the slippery sides of the mountain. To find the patches of grass and tasty salts they like, they have to climb really high, using lots of tiny toeholds in the rock. But it's only one giant step down to get to the bottom. Nimble-footed and like a four-wheel drive Jeep, the chamois zoom and leap all over the mountain. And here's an ibex. You can recognize him by those big horns, which are not going to fit through this little pass. Don't worry, ibex always make it to the top. They love to climb. They've been known to hoof it as high as 13,000 feet up. Bath time! Nobody's happier than a wild boar in mud. Mud makes for a great scrub, and the scratching, well, that just feels good. Out where water's in short supply, a bison takes his bath in the dust. Not everybody likes baths. If they would just hold still, this would go much faster. Some animals still think wet is wonderful. Bedtime. Time to drift off to dreamland on the forest floor, but only when everything's quiet. A carpet of crunchy leaves keeps anybody from sneaking up during sleepy time. For the red jungle fowl, bunking on the rainforest bottom would be very dangerous. Can you guess why? Who else do you think might be slithering along on the ground? Yes, it's a snake. He's patrolling the jungle floor, looking for a bite to eat. Better look out, birdies! everybody's out of reach. There will be no sneaking up on anybody for this snake. The ibex don't worry about where they sleep. They just give themselves a good scratch and lie down in a heap. Story time! Back in 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, more than 60 million bison roamed across the American continent. There were more bison than people. They were the rulers of the wide open spaces and had little to fear from predators. When settlers came to the Wild West, they could barely believe their eyes. The bison herd stretched for miles. But unlike the Native Americans, who hunted the bison with spears, bows, and arrows, these settlers brought guns. The bison only knew to run away from moving predators. With their guns, the settlers could stay in one place to hunt them. Bison provided a good living. Meat to eat, bones to grind into fertilizer, and skins for clothing. But more and more settlers came, and soon there were fewer and fewer bison. Finally, there were only about 500 bison left, out of millions. It looked like the rulers of the plains were doomed. The proud bison would only be a memory for the new American people. But then along came a man named William Hornaday. He worked to protect the bison. 100 years later, bison are back. Over 30,000 now roam the plains of the United States. Although we may never again see millions of bison, we certainly won't ever forget them. Playtime! Although life is dangerous on the frontier, there's still time for fun. Boy, these chamois have a certain spring in their step today. Oh no, it's those mountain marmots with some monkey business of their own. tight for a second. We were all out of time. But first, let's play a game of Finish the Rhyme. With funny feet like these, camels are easy to spot. To look at a camel, we go where it's hot. What gets all frosty when a bison digs in the snows? That's right, the tip of his very large nose. You remember prairie dogs and their funny barking sounds? Where do they live? In prairie dog towns. A stiff upper lip is a sign of what? Two bighorn sheep about to headbutt. Does a bath for a boar mean lots of soap and suds? He likes a wallow in the dirty mud. What's a marmot eat up here in the high mountain passes? He dines on a meal of green grasses. Ibex can climb, but what else can they do? They'll wiggle and waggle their tongues at you. The chamois are the sprungiest, no doubt about it. But now it's time to say goodbye. Everybody shout it. Goodbye, Madison. See you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it!
Watch for Madison and his magic zapper. He'll pop up again with a whole world full of animal friends for you. We'll be rolling, running, and swimming together real soon on your Growing Up Wild adventures.